Right now at noon, why filling up your car is getting more expensive.
As we take a look at the tower cam from 7th and Rangeline, you can see we are clearing out and warmer temperatures are on the way. We'll talk about all that coming up.
And astronauts go on a spacewalk outside the International Space Station.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Southeast Kansas community names its new police chief. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Tapping our first 7 minutes. Fort Scott's interim city manager announces an 18-year veteran of the Fort Scott Police Department as its next chief of police. Current police captain Jason Pickert will take the reins from retiring Chief Travis Shelton. Pickert started his career with the Fort Scott PD in 2004. He served as a patrol officer, detective sergeant, and then was promoted to captain in 2018. Pickert will take the title of chief on March 1st. After hitting record highs last summer, gas prices dropped dramatically in the fall, but they are now once again pushing higher. And AAA says prices at the pump have shot up around 30 cents a gallon in the past month. Christian Benavides looks into the reasons why gas prices have increased and where they could go from here.
Dan Kozakowski is traveling from Florida to South Carolina in his motorhome and feeling the pain at the pump.
On a fixed budget, it hurts, but it is what it is. Can't do nothing about it.
After hitting a record high last summer, gas prices dropped dramatically in the fall but are now marching higher again. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of unleaded has jumped 30 cents in the past month.
A lot of it had to do with the weather. We had that terrible winter storm at the end of December.
Andrew Gross from AAA says the holiday storm forced many refineries to shut down, leading to a disruption in supply.
You had this weather-related oil refinery issue that's gotten better, but it kind of set everything back. And that's why you had that pretty steady increase in prices.
Those prices are starting to stabilize, but could be going up again. That's because many refineries are about to shut down for annual maintenance, which will impact output, just as demand for gas is about to go up.
After the end of February, you start getting into, spring driving season starts ramping up.
When more drivers are on the road, higher gas prices usually follow, and some analysts predict they'll climb another 25 to 50 cents a gallon by March. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Pompano Beach, Florida.
Well, here in the 4 states, gas is cheapest on average in Missouri, where it costs $3.16 a gallon. In Arkansas, the average is $3.17. Oklahoma, gas costs on average $3.18. And in Kansas, gas is about $3.20 a gallon. That's according to AAA. Well, like it or not, everyone's favorite groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, has predicted 6 more weeks of winter. The famous rodent saw his shadow this morning during the 137th Groundhog Day celebration in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Though that's kind of hard to believe when you see this weekend's forecast. Let's check in with Chris with the first look.
He's not my favorite groundhog anymore.
No.
He can take his shadow somewhere else, okay? That's what he can do. But Tanya's right. We're talking a roughly 20-degree increase in temperatures between now and the start of next week. So Punxsutawney can, whatever. All right, let's take a look. So if we look off to the north from 7th and Rangeline, clear skies. You can see a stray little cloud up here. But if we turn our direction to the south with the MoDOT camera 32nd and Rangeline, here's more clouds. It looks mostly cloudy almost as these start to roll on out of here and we transition to mostly clear skies. Yesterday made it to 32 after starting at 14. Not near records by any means, but way off of what our averages should be for this time of year. And then here in a few more days, we're going to be way off the averages again. Take a look at the trends from Tuesday through Saturday. 24, 32, 45, 41, 52. we're going to be looking a lot better. Let's take a look at temperatures across the region, though, right now. We're at 43, Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott, Chanute, 39 in Pittsburgh, 37 Miami, 36 in Neosho, and 38 in Joplin right now. And this is putting us anywhere from 10 to approaching 15 degrees warmer now than what we were at this time yesterday. So warmer weather is slowly getting here. We're still looking at a high of about 43 degrees today. Clouds will continue to clear. We'll go from mostly clear to just plain old clear skies. However, there's a flip side to this clear sky coin. We're going to talk about what that means for our temperatures tonight and tell you just how warm it's going to get here in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the death of Tyree Nichols and the arrest of 5 former Memphis police officers for his murder puts renewed pressure on the Biden administration to pass the stalled George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. The president and vice president are planning to meet later today, with members of the Congressional Black Caucus to push to get the police reform legislation back on track. Nicole D'Antonio reports from Capitol Hill.
At the National Prayer Breakfast Thursday, President Biden referenced Tyree Nichols and his family.
Justice is long overdue.
Wednesday in Memphis, Vice President Kamala Harris made an impassioned plea at Nichols' funeral for restarting negotiations on federal police reform. Congress started work on a bill after the death of George Floyd in police custody, but it's been stalled for a year and a half.
We demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it.
The legislation aimed to, among other things, limit unnecessary use of force, restrict the use of no-knock warrants and chokeholds, and limit qualified immunity, which shields officers from many potential civil lawsuits. That last measure met resistance from Senate Republicans. The president and vice president are meeting this afternoon with the Congressional Black Caucus to figure out how to make progress on the bill. But with Republicans now controlling the House, the legislation faces a steep uphill climb.
I don't know that there's any law that can stop that evil that we saw.
With the Floyd bill stuck, President Biden signed an executive order on police reform for federal law enforcement last May, and more executive action may be on the table. But the White House concedes there is no substitute for federal legislation. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The parents of Tyree Nichols will attend President Biden's State of the Union address next week as guest of the Congressional Black Caucus. Well, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket from the Kennedy Space Center early this morning, carrying 53 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit. The latest launch is the 4th this year that SpaceX has devoted to Starlink, the company's huge and ever-growing constellation of broadband satellites. SpaceX now has more than 3,800 satellites in orbit. Well, 2 astronauts aboard the International Space Station took a walk into the final frontier early this morning. The spacewalk was a second trip for both NASA astronaut Nicole Mann and Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Koichi Wakata. And they are continuing the installation of hardware for future power system upgrades. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon. Snubbing Britain's king? Why Australia is changing its currency. And later we're making ravioli pesto pie in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Australia has decided it's had enough of the British monarchy, at least on its dollar bills. The country is replacing the last one, featuring the late Queen Elizabeth, with something closer to home. CBS's Ian Lee reports.
If cash is king down under, Britain's King Charles is being dethroned.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. This is Australia.
The new king's face won't replace his mother's, which is currently on Australia's $5 bill. Instead, the government decided on an image honoring the country's indigenous culture.
The $5 note will say more about our history and our heritage and our country, and I see that as a good thing.
The British monarch is Australia's head of state. But Queen Elizabeth's passing last September is raising uncomfortable questions for royalists, with many folks asking if they even need a king.
We're in Australia, we need to be a republic, we've got nothing to do with the monarchy.
The Queen's finished, and I don't think Charles is up to it.
The Queen's face is still in circulation on more than a dozen currencies around the world. The UK will start rolling out the King's new notes next year, but it's unknown how many other countries will keep with tradition. And not everyone in Australia is glad to see the monarch replaced.
I think the Queen is amazing, and we should keep her in loving memory of her.
The King's face will make it on the country's coins, but the monarchy's monopoly on money is finally spent. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Well, the British monarchy has been pictured on Australian currency since 1923. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Today, we have a Groundhog Day recipe that is a winner beyond a shadow of a doubt. Any ideas to what it could be?
Well, given the potential forecast from Phil, it may be groundhog itself. We'll have to see what Howard's cooking up, but we're cooking up some warmer temperatures as we head into this weekend. We'll break down that warm up coming up. We're already beginning to trend warmer across the four-state area as we head through to this afternoon, and we're starting to see a lot more sunshine across the region as well, which is welcome because it's been cloudy, it's been dreary, it's been cold over the last several days. Their tower camera at 7th and Range Line looking back off to the northwest-ish, and you can see that the skies are clear as can be as far as this camera can see, which, by the way, can see from here, at least to our tower here at the main studios just south of Pittsburgh. So clear skies out there. However, when we switch to the MODOT camera that's looking south along Range Line from 32nd, it looks almost mostly cloudy, and that's because those clouds are slowly working their way out of here to give us mostly clear skies as we head into this afternoon and evening. We're at 38 in Joplin right now, calling it about partly cloudy. Feels like 33 with a west-northwest breeze at about 6 miles an hour. So that's not terrible, and we're already trending warmer. Look at some of these temperatures. 43, Yates Center, Chanute, Iola, Fort Scott, 39 Pittsburgh, Chetopa, 37 in Miami, got 36 in Neosho and 37 in Carthage right now. For all of us, we are upwards of 10 to almost 15 degrees warmer now than where we were 24 hours ago. And that's wonderful news for now. But there's changes coming in two ways. We're going to see a 15-degree rise in temperatures, and then we're going to see about a 15-20-degree drop in temperatures. We'll talk about all that in a second. Still heading for a high about 43 degrees today, and we'll be partly cloudy to mostly clear. So here's what I was talking about earlier. The flip side of that mostly clear coin is clouds act as a thermal blanket. If it warms up underneath overnight, that heat gets kind of trapped and we don't cool off as much. But because we're going to be mostly clear, look at how quickly temperatures begin to drop between just 5 and 8 o'clock. It's a 10-degree drop, which means tonight we're actually going to be a bit colder than we were last night because at least we had the cloud cover. Tonight, we're mostly clear, which is great. I like seeing the sky, but we're going to get down to a very chilly 19 degrees. However, this is the last really cold night we're going to have for just a little bit. As we take a look at the future track, over the next several days, we're actually looking pretty good. We get some cloudy skies, breezy conditions this weekend, but we are a much milder, much warmer. This is Sunday at 8 a.m., 37. Well, today at 8 a.m., we were still in the 20s. So this is considerably better as we look into the future. And then take a look at Monday by 2:30. That's not wrong. That's going to be nice. And then Monday evening into early Tuesday morning, you can see some showers that are going to try and work across the area. And then as we head into late Wednesday and into Thursday, we have another round. And that one's going to be the one that's going to change things up for us. So make sure you scan that QR code or go to your favorite app store and get the KOAM Skywatch weather app so you can stay ahead of whatever Mother Nature may throw it our way. We're a little cooler tomorrow, down to 40, but we'll have plentiful sunshine. Again, cloudy, breezy this weekend. Look at this, 48 Saturday, 60 by this Sunday, 64 by Monday with some evening showers. And then that cools us down, still above normal, Tuesday and Wednesday into the mid-50s. And as we look beyond that, there's that system Thursday. We're still above normal, up to 55, but then after it starts up with that rain, we get down to normal for Friday at 42, and then by Saturday, we drop down to 31. Could even see some of that shower activity transition to a wintry mix. So, I don't know if Phil's prediction is going to be 100% accurate, but at least technically speaking, meteorologically speaking, we're still in winter, so this isn't unusual. This isn't Phil predicting next week. This is simply, we're getting this nice warm-up, a nice brief opportunity to warm up, thaw out, see the sun a little bit, and then winter will return just like it's supposed to, because it's still February, it's still winter. We're still a few weeks away from spring.
Yeah, Well, he didn't predict this weekend, so there.
He certainly did not. He missed the mark on this particular weekend.
6 more weeks of winter. Not going to
Whatever.
have it. No way. All right. Thanks, Chris. We take this time to honor today's 4th state hero, Sergeant First Class Claude Lancaster in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Southwest City, Missouri, joined the 1st Armored Division, 13th Tank Battalion in 1941, fighting in Africa, French Morocco, Tunisia, Naples, and Rome until 1945. Now, Lancaster later served with the 7th Armored Division from 1950 to 52 during the Korean War. He earned 6 bronze medals, the Good Conduct Medal, the Korean Service Medal, and the National Defense Service Medal. To Sergeant Claude Lancaster, we thank you, our 4th state hero. Well, today's a recipe for ravioli pesto pie comes together in less than 30 minutes, and it's sure to become a new family dinner favorite. Howard shows us how it's done in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
With today being Groundhog Day, I thought it'd be fun to share a recipe with you that would be fitting whether Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow or not. You see, if he did, that means we would have 6 more weeks of winter, and this dish would be perfect since it's so comforting. On the other hand, if he didn't see his shadow, that would mean that spring would come early, so all the springtime flavors in this dish would be even more timely. All we do is boil a bag of frozen ravioli according to the package directions. While that drains, we mix together some homemade or bottled pesto, a jar of chopped pimentos that we drained really well, some Parmesan cheese, and a generous amount of sliced pepperoni. Now we add the ravioli and give it a good toss. After it's coated, we dump it into a pie plate, sort of leveling it out and finishing it off with lots of mozzarella. All that's left to do is cover it, pop it in the oven until it's heated through and the cheese is melted. Does this ever look good or what? Like I said, it's warm and comforting, yet its fresh taste is all but teasing us that spring is right around the corner. The recipe for our ravioli pesto pie is online now and is ready and waiting to serve up no matter what our little groundhog friend predicted. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we're looking for a dish that's a winner beyond the shadow of a doubt. In other words, ooh, it's so good.
That does look good. Here's a look at our 4th state market prices.
Not looking too bad today, up to 43, and then look at the weekend, 48 Saturday, 60 on Sunday, 64 Monday, maybe some evening showers, and we'll be in the mid-50s as we head into the middle of next week. So a nice, roughly 20-degree warm-up over the next few days.
That'll be welcome.
All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, the CDC issues a warning concerning eye drops that are linked to dangerous, even deadly bacterial infections. We're going to have details for you in Health Watch. Plus, a Joplin teacher's daily run to stay healthy actually saves her life. And a Chanute grandmother speaks out after her grandchild is bullied and stabbed on the playground. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up on KOAM News at 5.
All right. Thank you, Down. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.